And now, to help to begin our celebration, it's my distinct honor to introduce award-winning preservationist Dana Crawford. Dana has touched so many of what for many of us take for granted in Denver, from Larimer Square to the Flour Mill Lofts and Union Station. Each of these projects represents amazing vision, collaboration, complex effort, and a lot of passion. She's been an inspiration and a creative force in Denver for decades, and her work in Trinidad and at the Mighty Argo in Idaho Springs continue to inspire us all. Not every city has a Dana Crawford, so let's show her how glad that we are that Denver does. Please join me in welcoming Dana Crawford.
Good afternoon, all. I think I've been here all 20 years. And how many of you been here 20 years? There are a few. Well, there are a few out there. And I understand that Ann Pritzloff spoke to you this morning. And I just always remember that she used to, in the first few years that we were doing this event, she was always not in 5-inch heels, but 4-inch heels until the last day when collapse kind of began to set in. But, you know, isn't this fantastic that this is one of the absolute biggest and best events of this kind in the United States? Might be in the world. And so I'm very happy to welcome you and interrupt your lunch. And I'm going to be introducing a film in a minute, or a film trailer, but I think it's very timely that this event is taking place, since I'm sure you've been discussing the fact that the tax credits that have been so important to the preservation movement in the United States are threatened. And once again, it's time to communicate with Washington in as loud a voice as we possibly can. Now it's my big pleasure to introduce a trailer of a film which could be very important in getting this message across over the years, because it's about Colorado. And as Steve Turner said last night, Colorado is probably one of the absolute very, very best states in the United States in terms of participating in the preservation movement. And once again, we want to be sure that that stays. So this film should help, and I hope you will enjoy it. And I don't know what they do about the lighting, but you know where your plate is. Thank you so much. There was an absolute belief that it was not viable on an economic basis, because who in the world would want to go down to those old neighborhoods and go into those broken down old buildings?
Here we were saying, believe in a different vision. Believe that over time, if we make this a unique place, actually property values will go up.
Great cities are about great urban spaces. What really makes a city different than any other city? It's those buildings that tell our stories.
Placemaking is so tied in with preservation. Historic structures represent the personality of a community and the definition of a community.
I loved that notion of social activism on behalf of these old buildings. Who is their constituency? Who's going to speak out to say that they should be saved?
We live in a way in a disposable society, and the history of our community is an important part of the fabric of the future.
If you have to grow and accommodate a lot more people, how do you protect your historic buildings? We don't want to end up with a lot of shopping centers and plastic and plywood housing.
Preservation is a commitment every generation has to make. Something we save today is going to have to be saved again 30 or 40 years into the future, or it will be lost, and it will be lost forever.
If you are touched by a place, then you are a preservationist, because it is in the places that speak to our hearts that we leave the mark of our souls.